Hold up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there he is.
What, man? How we doing?
Yeah, dude. Good to circle up with you finally. Been a
Dude,
little.
right? I'm so bummed I missed you when you were in Irvine, but it looked like your team was killing it though.
Yeah, we're playing well down there. Both times we were down there, which was pretty good. So,
How was the ball traveling for your team? Because every time I play in Irvine, the ball goes nowhere.
dude, we just don't have any guy with standout juice.
I mean, that had what you're coaching, like 17, 18-year-olds.
Yeah, junior's
That
gonna be senior. So,
I actually just did a little I had one of my players roll up and what we were doing was a little, like he was like, we were talking about like my story in the game. That's why I like linking up with players like yourself and everything, where we could talk about like our experiences.
oh yeah,
And I had to explain my freshman year of college. I'm like, dude, I literally was 160 pounds as a senior in high school. I
yeah,
got sick right before prom, and I was about 150 pounds, 55 pounds soaking wet going into freshman year. So it was like, it was different.
yep, yep. Similar story to me. Similar story to me. Like I was decent size. Like I was big enough to actually play, but that was the separator going into college. Was like I needed to just get bigger and stronger.
Yeah, that's one thing. What I'm trying to use the platform for. I mean, it's obviously like TBlood School of Hitting, but I also want to explain. Listen, guys, you need to be a good hitter, but you also need speed. You also need strength. You also need to eat properly. You need to have mobility, flexibility, and like I'm trying to use it all because like the whole purpose is I want my players to be better.
Hmm.
And when you made your post today on the travel ball, it kind of just reminded me of what I'm competing with down here, where so many of these parents will talk to me. Why should I join your program? You don't play as many games, and but we play on this travel ball team. We spend X amount of money, but we play 30 games a month, and I'm just like, guys, you're spending the same amount of money with me, but your kid's actually gonna get good instead of just playing game after game or winning the gold bracket or the silver bracket. Like they now do silver brackets, which that wasn't a thing when I played. So I was like, what in the hell's a silver bracket?
Yeah, yeah. The B bracket. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
just the thing where it's like parents get so caught up in the like I've talked to multiple parents. They think like, oh, his friends are all doing this travel ball team and they do this, so like I feel like we have to. Whereas maybe there's just misinformation on like, no, look, like you need to actually develop. And it's not about just playing games because like you can go play a game and play shortstop and get like one ground ball. And you get walked three times
yeah.
and you don't get anything out of that.
Well, and the big thing with me, a lot of kids are going into travel ball after little league ends for 2 years before high school,
Hmm.
and they're not the little league field to the high school field, which they're going to be playing on the high school field. So I'm like, let's go less games in these next 2 years, but let's make sure they're used to playing on 60 foot 90 instead of making them play a bunch of tournaments. And it's funny to me because these parents they buy into some programs. I'm not going to call programs out because, I've got a big following, you got a big following, but I remember there was this particular trial ball program growing up. It was you have to be a part of this program. They're charging like $800-900 to a month for this, but they had like a lot of quote big leaguers on their team and a lot of D1 and college guys. But as I got older and started playing with some of these dudes, I was like, "Oh, did you play for this, organization?" They're like, "We played one game with them. We suited up for them one time, and now they flex us on their social media every."
Oh
I'm
man.
like, "Oh my god!" So they're scamming people.
Yeah.
I'm okay. That makes sense now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's definitely like it's definitely an interesting landscape in travel baseball. Like, what do different programs have to offer? And I think at the end of the day, it's just about development. It's literally just
Yeah,
about development. Like, can you get better? Can you prepare for varsity baseball? Can you prepare for college baseball?
exactly.
What are some things, I guess, asking you a question, like I think we've touched on what the answer might be. Like, what would you say is the biggest area of development you see guys needing that you work with?
So when it comes to like the younger ages, like the little league travel ball youth players, it's in my opinion, it's a little bit of doing their mechanics correctly because as they get older, they're gonna put pressure on themselves to get hit after hit after hits. And the minute they go 0 for 3, they're
Mhm.
quick to swing, they're quick to, oh, it's just not there. But I force especially even my high school guys. What are your 5 basics I taught you when you were 12 years old? Okay, let's go back to the basics. And then all of a sudden they're hitting rockets. But then when they get to the high school level, now the biggest expertise and development would be their strength
Mhm.
because a lot of these kids are like, I remember my freshman year, I was 5'4", about 130 pounds, and it was 130 of straight pudge and, like weight.
Yeah.
But then I was playing with dudes that were shaving twice a day, guys that were hitting their growth spurts. So like obviously they got the playing time as freshmen because they're so big, so strong.
Yeah.
And as a whole in high school is, like that's where that separates the best players. And then when you get to college professional levels, now it's the speed. So it just kind of depends on the level of where you're at.
Yeah. I like what you touched on there, like going back to the basics. That's one
Yeah.
thing that worked really well for some of the high school guys I had this year is like they would hit well to start the season and then they would go through a slump and be like, Coach, like, what's up? And I'm like, okay, just see the ball and hit the ball, is that I told one of them. And he was like, Coach, I went 3 for 4 yesterday. And I'm like, huh, you just keep it so simple. Like, stop thinking about mechanics, stop thinking about like performing, just go up there, see the ball, hit the ball. Keeping
Well,
it so simple.
it's funny too because I have one particular player. He's a dog,
Hmm.
but I notice when he goes bad, it's because he's rushing his feet. He's trying to do too much, and I'm just like, hey, stay under control, slow down basics, but take a step slower. If you have to wait an extra second for this guy to land, do it, but make sure you're moving slow. And then when he's slow, controlled, all of a sudden he's hitting the ball off the fence, and I'm just like, I'm actually starting to force my players because everyone's got an iPhone, even the 10-year-olds for some reason.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, who's got the notes app? Everyone's got the notes app. I'm
Yep.
just like, great, writing down what you learned after every session. So when we work out, you're gonna go back to that session because kids forget.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
biggest game changer for me when I first went into indie ball, I
Hmm.
had a instructor. He was solid, but he was so quick. So I would bring a notebook and in
Oh,
my water breaks, I started writing everything down. He was just like, "You're taking long breaks." I'm like, "Hold on, what was that thought?
yeah.
Extend, pat." And I still have that notebook full of all those notes.
Hmm. Hmm.
So like sometimes you just got to write it down.
Yeah. Well, that's the coachability side of it that I think is required for players if they want to get good. Like
Mhm.
showing up to a lesson's great or like training with a guy online's great, but like if you're not actually putting in the work to retain the information, it's like what's
Exactly. Like I don't know what your schedule when it comes to your lessons looks like, but you definitely get those kids who are willing to just do anything to make it to that next level. And then you get those kids where you can tell, okay, hey, mom and dad are paying the session. They probably need an hour long babysitter or something. So, and I enjoy working with the kids who are willing to run through a wall. Like it's just it
hmm
makes the development more fun. It makes the
yeah.
play like and I love seeing your posts, especially when your boys are killing it. I'm like, dude, it's like the best feeling in the world.
Hmm. 100%. 100%. I think like one of the big things is being able to like communicate the discipline into players. Because it's one
Yes,
thing, like you can work with anyone, but if you're not going to be consistent with the routine, the results just simply aren't going to come. And you know that. I'm sure you
of
teach your
course.
players that same thing.
Well, one of my favorite things too is a kid will go over in a game
Hmm.
and getting text messages. My kid's swing is terrible today. What did you do in your last lesson? I'm like, okay, please tell me you have his at bats. They send me the at bats. I'm watching the swings. I'm like, dude, the swings are great. He swung at 2 pitches in the dirt. What'd you think was gonna happen?
Yeah.
So my big thing too is I teach them the strike zone. Granted, we have our version of the strike zone, and
Hmm.
I'm like to our version until we have two strikes, where it's like anything in between the lines of the plate we swing at, that's a hittable pitch. You got to understand by slowing yourself down. If it's thrown anywhere in that vicinity, you're a good enough player to hit it.
Yeah. Yep.
But then when you start reaching for pitches out of the zone, I don't expect there's no Vladimir Guerreros anymore.
Yeah.
Like you're not a good bad ball hitter. Nobody is nowadays.
Hmm.
So just
Hmm.
something, well, your son swung at a terrible pitch. Oh, wait. You mean, yeah, like one of my players had a 2-0 count on her. She popped up and everyone's looking at me like, you're the hitting coach. What'd you do wrong? I'm like, oh, she swung at a pitch 3 off the plate. I know why
Yeah.
she did. She's so charged up in this game because it's the big tournament game that everyone talks about. So she's trying to, win the game in the first inning.
Yep.
So
Yep.
in like sometimes that pressure gets kids to expand the zone. And it's like, oh, that's not a good pitch to swing at.
Yep. Yep. And I think that's another big thing. Like, how can we implement the mentality for players to actually like be able to slow the game down? Because like when you watch big league hitters hit, like those guys are they have chew in their mouth, they're blowing bubbles, like just so laid back, not even sweating. And then you watch high school guys and they're like, so it's how
Well,
can you get them to slow the game down?
well, I think too, and as when you become a professional, you're playing every single day. So you
Yes.
have comfort in the box.
Yep.
Like, you're seeing at bats with
Mm-hmm.
94. I posted one time about Pete Rose saying it's easy to hit in the big leagues, and oh my god, that not only did that post blow up, everybody was, that's crazy. How is it easier to hit in the big leagues? Those guys throwing 99 miles an hour. And it's like, well, when you're seeing 95 plus every night,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden reaction speed isn't gonna phase you. When you're seeing 500-600 at bats every year, you're slow, you're calm, like the
Mm-hmm.
on. And Jaron Duran for the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up in my neighborhood. So I've obviously kept up close with his career.
Yeah.
And I, especially a guy that scouted me, I asked him, what do you think of Duran? This before he cracked the big leagues. They said he's going to be a very good player when he gets enough at bats. So
Mm.
I remember his first year in rookie ball, he came back for a little bit of time to hang with his family. But then right after like Thanksgiving, they sent him to the Dominican Winter League where he
Uh,
had 300 at bats. Then he went to spring training. He had a couple hundred there, then played a season of minor leagues, had a few hundred there. Then they sent him back to the Dominican. So dude had like over 1,000 at bats in 2 years. And when he got to the big leagues, he was slow, he was poised, he was composed. And then I study guys like Bonds, where that guy's even slower and even more poised. And it's like you see how calm they are. Now
yep.
I could never, even with that many at bats, I could never do the chewing the bubble gum and blow a bubble. I don't have that kind of nation, but just so mellow up there, like that's what you
Mm-hmm.
got.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that, man. Like I said, I gotta hop off now, but I think this was solid. Like we can
Yeah,
even set some up or invite people or just talk about a topic or even go like Instagram live to do something like
yeah.
that.
I definitely would dig an Instagram live. I don't know how many would sign up just because it's the school year now,
Yeah.
but doing stuff like this, breaking down the content, I think it would be really fun.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I'll chop this up and post it on YouTube and then you can chop some up, make it into some reels too or whatever. But yeah, definitely good talking too.
It was definitely solid. But hey, I'll definitely be in contact with you soon, and good luck this year, man. I gotta ask, how's this year been going for you? Like this time of year?
It's good. It's definitely changing though with guys coming back to school and then like fall ball starting, just scheduling wise. But I mean, been good. Been good.
Yeah. In the near future, because like the months of June, July, August were so slow for me. I'm like, dude, this might be the opportunity to like link up with Isaiah in NorCal or a couple or hitting done right in Texas, like just to not
Yeah.
only but like I need a vacation from time to time too,
Dude, yeah, make it into a business trip.
right?
Heck
But
yeah.
anyway, I'll definitely talk to you soon and keep me posted on the videos.
Yes, sir. All right, Tommy, man. Good talking to you, man.
Great talking to you.
All right.